I'm Rick Salmeron. I am a financial planner and wealth manager in the Dallas area. It's critical to feel confident with your money. I was born to do this.
We want to bring in certified financial planner Rick Salmeron. Good morning, Rick.
Good morning, Jenny. Simplicity is the key. Complexity puts on the brakes. I help many successful people with their busy lives make smart decisions with their money. I've created such peace of mind for myself. I want this same peace of mind for everyone. And having financial peace of mind brings them a lot of happiness and joy. And I love delivering that guidance to my clients because they are family too.
Certified financial planner Rick Salmeron is talking about the new generation of day traders.
I've got decades of experience.
This coming up general election, will it impact on investment decisions?
President's 4-year term is going to experience an up and a down market. It's just going to happen. Every 4 years of time, there's ups and downs every day, every week, every month, sometimes every year. Mm-hmm. When Trump was elected, people thought that the world was going to come to an end if that happened. And shockingly, it didn't happen. In fact, a very strong bull market did occur. Same thing with Obama. Obama had 2 terms, and people felt, well, with him in power and his party in power, that's going to really change the tables and turn everything upside down. And we're going to see an economy that we've never seen before or experienced before, and will be unrecognizable forever moving forward. And that also didn't happen. Yes, he experienced up and down markets. Yes, Trump experienced up and down markets, but both of President Trump experienced an amazing, strong bull run over the long haul. So my long-winded answer is the presidential election is coming. Whoever wins, it may not be the party that you want. It might be the party that you want. Will the markets react? Probably. They'll react either by going up or going down or going nowhere. What happens on that day and the few days after that will become a distant memory and will be replaced by some other unknown. So for my long-term investors out there, the worst place to make long-term investment decisions is when your emotions are all turning upside down and you're fearful and you're anxious. I don't remember the last time anyone made a very wise and smart money decision when their emotions were all aroused, right? So the best take, in my view and my philosophy, is to take and remove emotions out of investing decisions. They've never done anyone any good. And that's when having someone from the outside in to help kind of control and keep those emotions in check can be a very, very good thing.
Wow. With that note, Rick, we have seen and witnessing that AI is advancing, and we can see the stock market, especially when it's come to NVIDIA. Right now, they have doing the stock split and all. And based on the NVIDIA chip prices, the Meta market is booming up. Based on that, now the Apple shares are hitting hike like 223, somewhere in 223 right now. And what do you think about this AI? Is it actually a kind of a dot-com bubble happened in 90s and 2000s, or it's actually advancing in technologies?
Well, I think it's advancing in technology. So we'll see with time whether this is defined as a bubble like we experienced in the late 90s and the early 2000s. It could be, maybe. However, I think AI, just like people were saying about the internet, what is this internet thing? Is this really here to stay or not? And of course, it did stay and it will stay forever. And it's my belief that AI will also stay forever. Technology is one of the best and greatest industries for anyone to be in some capacity, because it's so powerful, and it creates industries itself that we've never seen and never felt and experienced before. And it's replaced industries too. And that can come with scars. You know, advancements and disruptions can be great things, but they do come with scars. They do come with people can call it the bad news. But the bad news really means that our lifestyle, our standard of living at a point where the things that we used to depend upon, we don't depend on the landline phone anymore. We've now got the beauty and the luxury of a mobile device that I can hold in my hand that's no larger than, a deck of cards that has more computing power than the Apollo 11 did 50 years ago, 60 years ago. So with these disruptions, and AI is a disruption, AI is creating and will continue to create industries and businesses that we've never experienced before. It levels up the game of just about any industry, if you ask me. We're talking on this Zoom call right now, Ash, and who knows what our communication style is going to be in 5 years.
Yeah.
Because of AI. We're going to look back and joke and make faces at this thing called Zoom that is now replaced with who knows.
Yeah.
But that does mean that, out with the old and in with the new. And in general, looking back again, with all these types of disruptions, businesses are created that we've never experienced. Uber was not around 20 years ago. iPhones are, born in 2007 and so on. And thank goodness for these disruptions, but they do come with a lot of unknown and a lot of feelings of insecurity for people.
Wow. With that note, Rick, I have seen some of your videos actually, and I did some research about you. And I have seen a frequent question that the people love to ask from you. What is the best investment?
The best investment, if I were to pinpoint one single thing in life to spend time and money on, it would not be the XYZ fund or the ABC stock or what have you. It would be your self-esteem. If I were to pinpoint one thing, and the reason I say that with confidence is because our self-esteem as human beings drives just about every behavior that you can think of. It is our feeling of ourselves. How much do we like ourselves? How much do we love ourselves? What is our self-estimate of ourselves? And when that is running high, when you feel very good about yourself as a person, as a human being, that creates some incredibly powerful momentum. And that momentum drives the ship that's called our life. It drives our decisions that we make with our health. It drives the decisions that we make with our money. It drives our decisions that we make with our relationships, with how we show up in the world. I mean, I like to create this analogy, when we've got a thermometer in the bathroom, we take our temperature, we've got this device we stick under our tongue, right? To see,
Yeah.
do we have a fever or not? And what's the reading? Imagine if there was a self-esteem-o-meter that we could take and stick under our tongue, and it would produce a reading. And that reading was something between a 1 being, I am just the worst person in the world, worth nothing, and a 100 that I am amazing. And suppose that we could actually read and measure what our self-esteem was. Wouldn't you agree that a person's life running at a self-esteem meter of 86 is far better and far greater and far more powerful than someone running it at, say, a 41, right?
Yeah.
And if we could actually do that, and I would argue that there are ways to actually measure your self-esteem, perhaps not in a thermometer way, but if you were able to measure that ability inside yourself, that measurement of self-esteem, that can really explain a lot of, again, how you feel about yourself, but the actions that you take or the actions that you don't take because of how much you like yourself. Just imagine what life would be if you were your greatest fan, right? So
Yeah.
the one place that people should invest in, that's your self-esteem. And so much comes out of that. And we don't have any choice about the self-esteem either, Ash. It's here.
Yeah.
It's here. It's sitting like an imaginary ghost on our shoulder. It's right there, whether we recognize it or not. It explains why we say might want to buy the $1,000 purse versus take that money instead and stick it in the bank. It can explain the reason why we're careful about the types of meals that we prepare and the food that we eat versus not. It can dictate what we do in the car when we're driving. Are we listening to music or podcasts or nothing at all? And it's not to say any of these behaviors are right or wrong. It's just when you look at your life and your life results, whether they be money, whether they be, again, relationships or your health or your contribution to the world, if you like the results that you see, if they are really stellar and stunning, then that means you're probably running on a very high self-esteem meter. If on the other hand, you're not happy with your financial results or your health results, that might be a way for you to identify, I need to be changing up. I need to be changing some of my behaviors and my actions.
Wow, that is very powerful. And Rick, I would like to ask regarding some question on financial planning. So the relationship. So I have seen that you have mentioned two type of relationship, the transactional and advisory. And which one you will choose and why?
I personally and professionally choose the advisory relationship over the transactional relationship. There's probably a number of reasons for that, but the main one is in an advisory relationship, it's my belief that the advisor is looking for the long-term best interests of the client. They're not dependent upon the transaction to satisfy themselves. Okay, it's with the way an advisory relationship should be is that which the advisor is looking after the future of the client that they're working with, their pocketbook, their balance sheet, their success, not the other way around. It should always be client first versus advisor first. And if an advisor, in quotes, is dependent on the transaction to run their business, to make a living, in my view, that's a lesser desired relationship for the client, because you never know, because we're hiring the advisor because we don't have the expertise, right? We don't have the type of knowledge that that person has. It's kind of like God bless them, but it's kind of like the car mechanic. I don't know anything about how to fix a car. I want to make sure that the car mechanic is suggesting the repair that needs to be done. And for the most part, I trust car mechanics, and there's some fabulous car mechanics out there. Yet I just want to make sure. And how can I better feel right about the decisions that my advisor, my financial advisor, is making for me? Well, if I know that they're not dependent on that trade being placed or that investment being made, or that me depositing X dollars into this investment product that they're recommending, that really relieves me of that fear and that anxiety, in my view. So there are people who work with both, either or, and as long as you're happy with the relationship, again, a life result, then that tells you that you're on the right path. If the transactional advisor is best for you, then that's wonderful. That's more power to you. I'm not one of those types of advisors. I'm more of a relationship advisor because I love and adore and care for my clients' long-term well-being, and I want to be with them in the next 10, 15, and 20 years and beyond.
Wow. And Rick, one more question regarding the technology and all. Right now, we have seen a lot of youngsters, actually, we can say Gen Z or Gen X, whatever the fancy name they call themselves. And they're trying to invest more on these coins, Bitcoin and Ethereum, and this kind of investment, which kind of a digital currencies. But the mining and all. So
Mhm.
how you viewing this kind of investment in your point of view?
I personally do not utilize cryptocurrency whatsoever. However, that's another question that can be posed in cryptocurrency. Is this just a fad? Is this just a bubble? Or is it actually here to stay? Will it be like the .coms, or will it be like the internet? Or will it be like, say, AI? I believe AI is probably going to be here. In fact, it's been here longer than we really realize. But is that going to be the same case with cryptocurrency? I don't really know. Although what I do know is for people who are eager to invest in, say, a crypto or any kind of industry that is coming as a new thing, a new development, it's got a tremendous speed behind it and a lot of attraction and popularity, that as an investor, you can be right about an industry.
Mm.
Okay. And
Yeah.
again, just time will tell whether you're right about the industry or not. However, you can be really wrong
Yeah.
with the actual place that you invest your money in that industry. Okay.
Yeah.
Just as an example, again, going back to the internet's going to be around forever. That's not going to change. However, do any of these companies ring a bell? Lycos,
Mm.
Alta Vista, Netscape. These were some of the pioneers of search engines and web browsers that, when the internet was really growing legs, seemed to be on top, seemed to be the kings of the mountain. And yet I wonder how many Gen Xers or Gen Zers have ever even heard of those names before.
Yeah.
Yet the internet has never been better, has never been stronger, has never been more fulfilling in our lives. Yet those three examples are distant memories. Everyone thought that Yahoo was going to be the king and the king forever. And I've not been around forever, but I've been in this business for over 30 years. And I know that nothing stays as the king. And I'm not here to give any kind of advice whatsoever. People need to make up their own decisions. However, Apple Computer is an example of a company that's king of the mountain. It seems to be king of the mountain forever. And there's no chance that they're going to be replaced by anything. Yet I'm going to guess that, yeah, they will be replaced by some other company. Who knows what that is and who knows when that is? I just know that with history, again, as my guide, that's always been the case. There have been companies like GE who were the king of the mountain, and now they're not seen as often as they are. So there's a lot of this that can happen with any kind of industry is my point. So going back to the cryptocurrency question, will it be here to stay? Probably, possibly, who knows? Time will tell. But the industry can be strong and a forever industry, yet the companies can be very much a revolving door. And especially with the technology of cryptocurrency, where people can literally create their own coin in a snap, right? There can be literally tens of thousands. There probably are already. I don't really know. So it's really very, very careful land that people need to trod on there.
Yeah. And Rick, one more question regarding the investment. And we know that the Rich Dad and Poor Dad, the famous book regarding investment and all, from Robert Kiyosaki. And in that book, he mentioned it's better to keep money as a gold or silver than dollars and euros or pounds. So, do you think this approach is practical in practical scenarios, or how you seeing this point?
I don't think it's practical. No, I would challenge anyone to run their life today using just gold and silver as their means of exchange, and see how easy your life will be based on that. I mean, God bless the author of that book. I haven't really read that book, although I've heard about the author and the insides of the book. But it does help. The statements like that do help sell books. I know that, and they do grab headlines. And headline grabbing is very important. So if you want to gain attention, you want to grab headlines, and the way to do that is to be a pessimist. So if a person wants to gain attention, be a pessimist. However, in my view, if a person wants to grow their wealth, you need to be an optimist, because being
Hmm.
an optimist is the only attitude and only belief system that squares with the record. We as a country, we as a world, but I'll just stay with the United States of America, a very imperfect country, got its problems, got a lot of things to work on, no doubt. However, with all of the challenges that we have faced, world wars, new presidential administrations, missile crises,
Yeah.
presidents resigning, inflation high, inflation extremely high, dot-com crashes, housing bubbles, all of these incredible world events that affected us as a people in this country as well as around the world. They caused severe recessions at the time. There is a long, long list of things that have gone wrong. And there will be another long list in the future that you and I have no idea what they're going to say and how they're going to read. We don't know what the next world crisis is going to be. But in the face of what we faced, the one ingredient that's been a strong ingredient to the recipe of success, in my view, is optimism. Knowing that we will figure it out. We being this country, we being the society, we being the world, we being the economy, we being the people who are in power, whether we like it or not. Just looking back at where our life is today compared to where it was in the year 1900, things have never been better. Looking at the future, it's easy to conclude, oh my God, the world is coming to an end. Yet when I look at history, I conclude things have never been better. The world has never been better. And with that optimism, the key is not gold, silver, the latest silver bullets, that the headline. The key is optimism. Sticking with your path, sticking with the regular, tried and true behaviors and habits, straight down the middle of the fairway. I'm not going to swing for the fences. I cannot make a killing and I cannot get killed. I remember Greg Norman, the PGA golfer long ago, was asked, what's the key to winning golf tournaments? And I'll never forget what he said. He said, the key to winning golf tournaments is not the quality of your good swings. The key is the quality of your bad swings.
Hmm.
And that's a lesson that you can apply to a lot of things in life.
Yeah. Wow. And Rick, one more question. So we're having banking system right now and cash transaction and all. So now it's transitioning towards e-commerce and electronic devices, and it's very rare to see the cash and dollars in hand and in the purses. So now the next transition towards a Bitcoin. So we have seen a little bit of transaction. I mean, 5 to 10% in a worldwide maybe. They're using Bitcoin tokens to buy, purchase, and resale of the assets and for the purchases, daily users. So what is your point of view, or how you seeing the future if this kind of transaction happen more in future?
If you're asking, do I see cryptocurrency overtaking, say, the regular normal exchange of currency?
Yeah,
Is
correct.
that possible? That's possible because obviously, 20 years ago, cryptocurrency was maybe 0%, right? Now
Yeah.
it's perhaps 5 to 10, whatever the measurement is. I don't really know. So is the direction headed that way? Well, it appears to be. However, my understanding is that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency was born the same year as the iPhone.
Mhm.
And when I look at the change that the iPhone has done for our lives, and now how these devices, again, that are no larger than the palm of my hand, have really overtaken our life, And they're such a core part of our lives as our heart is inside our chest. I don't see that with Bitcoin. I don't see that with Bitcoin. So I don't see Bitcoin or crypto or that type of transaction vanishing, say, like the .com era. Yet it also, because it's still here and people still use it to a certain extent, as you said, yet at the same time, when I compare its results to, say, that of the iPhone, it's a black and white comparison. So I wouldn't count on currency just switching immediately to completely electronic anytime soon, although the direction is pointing that way, although very, very slow.
Yeah. And Rick, I have to ask this question because it's a kind of very basic question about share market and all. So a lot of people thinking or they having a perception that the share market is a kind of a gambling. So in your point of view, so is it actually a gambling or it's a kind of a smart investor can earn a lot from a share market? So what is
If
your
you're
advice for the beginner?
if you're referring to the stock market in general, if you're a speculator, it's easy to compare the markets to a casino and gambling. Ironically, it's kind of funny, and I'm glad that you brought this up, that when I compare a casino to the markets in general, they're completely the opposite when you look at the time frame. And what I mean by is when you use the markets as an investment vehicle for a short term, it can very much be gambling, just like a casino. However, the more time you spend in a casino, the more money you'll probably lose, right?
Yeah.
Yet the more time that you spend in the markets and just sit there, the better chance you have of making a lot of money. Because that's what history shows, is the more time that you spend in a wise fashion, in a prudent fashion, investing in the markets and letting the markets do their thing, then the greater chance you have of creating incredible wealth for your family and for yourself. That cannot be said about the same amount of money in the same amount of time.
Wow. And Rick, we have discussed a lot about AI and future technologies and the money transitions and how the dot-com bubble or internet bubble, which happened in 90s and early 2000s, and right now the AI generation, and people keep investing on technologies and a new kind of investment, where to invest actually, and a lot of scenarios and a lot of fruitful sessions. This one was and a lot of informative. And at the last, I would like to ask one more question, Rick. What is your advice for the younger generation who are trying to invest on some assets or trying to focus on their own finance right now?
Several things: study, learn, read about money, read about investing, get thoughts and get opinions from your colleagues, from your business colleagues, from your other advisors. Consider interviewing an advisor or two and get their take. And recognize that your money is simply a tool, your tool to a great life. The more that you grow your wealth, the more that you will grow your life. Of the 4 areas of a person's life, I want everyone to remember this. Of the 4 areas of the person's life: their health, their relationships, both personal and professional, how they show up in the world, their contribution to the world, and their money, their financial life. Those are the 4 sides. If you draw a square, those are the 4 sides that represent each side of that square, and that square is your life. And if you're able to rank on those 4 sides a 10 out of a 10, you're able to score that on all of those 4 sides, you got a really good life going. Wouldn't you agree? And it's my view, maybe biased, but it's my view that of those 4 sides, the money side supports all the four in a great fashion. It helps support great relationships. It helps support great health. It helps support a great career. It helps support how you show up and how you contribute to other causes that are near and dear to your heart. So I'd say regardless of age, but certainly those who are young, school yourself. Learn and identify what are your most important values, and learn how you are behaving now currently with money. What kind of a relationship do you have with money? Are you treating it like your pet dog? Are you treating it like your child with love and care? Because believe it or not, money does have feelings. It does. It knows when it's been paid attention to. It knows when it's been ignored. It knows when it's not had exercise. It knows when it's not being fed. It needs a hug, just like we do. When you treat your money that way as a person and as a human being, then your money grows, it smiles, it's happy. And that reflects and that shows up in your life, where you live, the people that you hang out with, the people that you get education from, the things that you read, the information that you put in between your two ears. So get educated, learn more, soak things in like a sponge, and make sure it's coming from sources that are seasoned and experienced and wise, and that you feel like that person or that place really has your best interest in mind.
Wow, that was very powerful, Rick. And Rick, for listeners, where they can find you?
You can find me online. My website is salmeronfinancial.com. You can also find me on LinkedIn. Just search for my name, Rick Salmeron, as well as Instagram and also Facebook. But if you would like more wisdom bits like this episode has been wonderful and you've gained something out of it, that's why I show up on these episodes. Well, guess what? I can share a lot more wisdom light bulb moments that might move the needle, help move the needle for you in the direction that you want on my social media websites or my website itself.
Wow. And before ending, Rick, we're having episode 2, which will might be on second week after this episode officially launched. Thank you. Thank you very much, Rick.
Thank you.